Hello, everyone, and welcome to Benchcasters Sports Radio. I'm your host, Christian Rauh, and welcome to Episode 2. Benchcasters editor Brian Pezon on the show today, rounding up the first week of preseason in the NFL. How you doing, Brian?
Pretty good.
All right, Brian, I want to dig right into it. Preseason through the first week, lots of young stars making debuts, and most of them looking good doing it. There are also a few key position battles throughout the league as well. Let's start it off with the first game of the preseason, the Hall of Fame game featuring the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys. Brian, this game seems to get more pointless every year. None of the starters even play. Teams don't seem to be ready. Is it even worth a play?
I honestly don't think it is. Like you just said, the Cowboys had out their entire starting lineup. All it's really about is honoring the Hall of Famers that get inducted that year. Let's focus it more on them and not the fifth game for these two teams in the preseason.
I couldn't agree more. So let's look into some of the few who made an impact in this game, Brian. What do you see between Dallas and Arizona here?
All right. For Arizona, they had TJ Logan that had a few good punt returns, and he had 4 rushes for 24 yards. He was a surprise for me. And then Dallas had a quarterback that's undrafted free agent, Cooper Rush. He went 9 of 18, 87 yards, and a touchdown, 2 rushes for 23 yards. He was a surprise. I think he'll fight for a roster spot. And if he doesn't get one there, he's going to get one somewhere.
Yep, all right. The Cowboys also played another game this week, as the Hall of Fame game wasn't officially week 1, and that was against the LA Rams. Dak Prescott didn't play. Zeke Elliott didn't play, even though he could have. Suspension isn't anything until the regular season. Des Bryant didn't play. So it seemed like this gave Jason Garrett and the Cowboys staff a good look at some of their depth in skilled positions. The Rams went on beating the Cowboys, however, 13-10. Brian, who stuck out to you in this matchup?
All right, just like Dallas's last game, Cooper Rush had another good game. He went 9 of 11 for 104 yards and a touchdown. His touchdown was to Rico Gathers, former basketball player in college, didn't play any football. He had 4 catches for 47 yards. And then their defensive end that they drafted, Taco Charlton, had a sack in that game. The Rams' Sean Mannion had a pretty good game, 18 25 for 144 yards. Cooper Kupp had 2 catches, and then he had his fumble recovery in the touchdown. Decent way to get his first touchdown of his career.
That was a very interesting touchdown, no doubt. It was said multiple times on the broadcast that Cooper Kupp and Jared Goff have worked up quite a relationship this offseason, and Kupp was constantly being praised as a very mature rookie. What's your thoughts on his potential?
Well, I think Cooper Kupp's going to be a mainstay in our NFL for quite a while. He's one of those blue chip wide receivers that's going to get you 90 to 100 catches a year. He's not going to break the long ones, but he's going to be consistent, and that's key in this league.
Sounds like there's going to be some longevity there for Kupp, and I'm okay with that because he seems pretty fun to watch. All right, the Cardinals, they also played twice. They played the Oakland Raiders in their second matchup, the technical Week 1 game. Jack Del Rio and the Raiders topped Arizona 20-10. Brian, what'd you see there?
All right, they had a linebacker, Corey James, another undrafted free agent, vying for a spot, had 7 tackles. And then LaTroy Lewis and Trayvon Hester had 2 sacks apiece. They're both undrafted free agents. Rookies. And then Arizona's Budda Baker had 5 total tackles in that game, so he had a pretty good outing.
Yeah, Baker had a good outing, that's for sure. But, Brian, I know it's only preseason, but are Bruce Arians and the Arizona Cardinals, are they in a downfall?
Yeah, their key core is all up there in age and ready to go. Fitzgerald has a couple more years in him. Same with Palmer. I think he's done after this year. And then Bruce Arians is a lot of health issues, and I think he's going to step away from the game the same time Fitzgerald and Palmer do.
All right. Well, we'll talk more about that as we get through the weeks closer to the regular season. Let's keep it moving down the list here and take you into Buffalo as the Bills and new head coach Sean McDermott fell to the Minnesota Vikings 17-10. Brian, what did you see for the Vikings.
All right. Well, Case Keenum had a decent game for him, going 11 for 16, 121 yards. And then Dalvin Cook, he didn't flash much in the rushing game with only 5 rushes for 13 yards, but 4 catches for 30 yards. Pretty productive for the short time he was in there.
And Dalvin Cook, he was said to have the starting job already locked in. There's been a couple reports from the NFL, a couple insiders saying that. Is this a sign to come for Dalvin Cook? Does he take that starting role full-time, or will we see more of a maybe running back from committee in Minnesota this year?
I believe he'll have the starting job locked up. He's more of a dual threat out of the receiving game as well, and they don't have that from Murray. Murray's been injury prone. I think Dalvin Cook's just going to be more of a mainstay for him.
Okay, and then going to the other side of the football here, Buffalo, how did they look in this preseason matchup?
Well, Reggie Ragland had 6 total tackles. It's nice to see him on the field for Buffalo. And then Nate Peterson, the quarterback they drafted, had 13 for 25, 112 yards, and a touchdown. So he had a pretty good outing as well.
He came into this game as the 3rd quarterback on the depth chart. Is it safe to say that he passed TJ Yates for the 2nd spot?
I wouldn't say that quite yet. I think TJ Yates has had more game experience, and they'll keep him in the 2nd spot to finish out the preseason. Not saying that, Peterson can't win the job, but as of right now, I'd say Yates still got the 2nd job just because of the experience alone.
Okay. Next, we have the Detroit Lions taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Brian, the Lions dominated this entire game. The Colts didn't score a touchdown until literally the last play of the game. Detroit wins 24-10. What do you got on this game?
All right. The Michigan's Jake Rudock had 142 yards and 2 touchdowns with 13-21 passing. Rad Kaya, the Miami quarterback they drafted this year, had 8 for 11, 71 yards and a touchdown. Kenny Galladay had 52 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of his touchdown catches was a really nice one. The Colts, Tremaine Pope, had 31 yards and a touchdown, and then Malik Hooker, their first-round pick, had 4 tackles.
Okay. Now, looking into this game and what I said earlier about the Colts just not looking good at all, and then the very news that's not really being such mainstream that it should be, Andrew Luck being hurt, they're saying that he's going to be ready for the beginning of the season. And, I mean, after looking at this game, even though I know it's preseason, the Colts better hope so, because without him, they're not going to be much. What do you think, Brian?
I don't think he's going to be ready. They put him on the PUP list for a reason. If you go back and look at that interview with Jim Irsay, he looks messed up right then. We know he has issues with drinking, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was a little liquored up with that. I don't think he's going to be ready, and I think that's going to hurt him big time. It should definitely be talked about more than it is.
Yeah, the Colts, I think, are going to be one of these stories you're going to hear more and more when we get towards the regular season and into it, especially if Luck isn't suiting up. Okay, heading down to Tennessee, the Titans took on the New York Jets. And, Brian, just like the New York Jets this year, there really isn't much to talk about this game. They beat the Titans 7-3. What do you got on it?
All right, Jets starting quarterback Josh McCown, that's weird to say, was 3 of 4 for 74 yards and a touchdown, and their newly appointed number 1 wide receiver, Robbie Anderson, had 3 catches for 71 yards. And that's all I've really seen in this game that's worth talking about.
I saw Hackenberg did a little bit. He didn't seem like he was amazing, but he did have some progression. I did see that. But the Jets aren't really worth talking about at the moment. Their management is a mess, and even though you have McCown and Hackenberg doing maybe some kinds of what's decent, their quarterback situation's a mess. We'll get into it another time. Next we have the San Francisco 49ers, who are coming off a full year of changes. New head coach in Shanahan and a new GM as well in former Tampa Bay All-Pro safety John Lynch. They take on a team, the Kansas City Chiefs, where Andrew Reid and a few decisions to make that I feel that some will be top headlines through the season, especially at their quarterback position with Alex Smith and rookie Patrick Mahomes. I feel like there's going to be some kind of story here coming up. Will Mahomes take over Smith? What's going to go on there? Brian, what do you got?
All right. I'm going to start out with San Francisco's quarterbacks there. J.C. Beathard actually did a really good job. I'm shocked. When they drafted him so early, I thought that was such a reach. But he went 7 of 11 for 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Barkley didn't do too bad either with 10 out of 17 for 168. I wouldn't put it past him to have a 3-way quarterback controversy going into Week 4. Joe Williams had 7 rushes for 60 yards. Kendrick Bourne had 4 receptions for 88 yards and a touchdown. And then Aaron Lynch had 2 sacks. And then we go to Patrick Mahomes, and he had 7 and 9 for 49 yards and a touchdown. He had a really good outing. He had a good, 40-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill that got called back.
Now, Brian, who did Mahomes remind you of? Like, could he be the real deal here in Kansas City?
Yeah, when his touchdown pass he threw, as soon as I was watching it and I saw it, I said, that's something Favre would do. I'm hoping he doesn't make as many mistakes as Favre, but the way he plays, it looks a lot like him, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another quarterback that's one of those gunslingers that you'll take the good with the bad.
So you're saying that he's going to be the touchdown side of Favre or the interception side of Favre or both? I
think he's going to be about the same. He's just not going to have the longevity in his career because nowadays NFL players don't last that long.
I love our bold predictions. All right, here we go. Next, we're going to head into Tampa Bay where the Bucs took on the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati without head coach Marvin Lewis, who's currently away on the team due to medical reasons. Cincinnati did get the best of Tampa Bay, however, 23-12, Brian.
Yeah, Cincinnati's backup quarterback Jeff Driscoll had a really good game. Watch out for him to steal a spot somewhere. Might even do a trade for him. He went 8 of 9 for 97 yards and a touchdown, 5 rushes for 34 yards and a touchdown. Then Jameis Winston had a good outing, 9 of 13, 99 yards.
Jameis Winston has a lot to prove this year. A lot of people are going to be talking about him for sure. All right, don't forget to subscribe and send us some comments with your input from what we've covered on our show today. Also, give us a follow on Twitter and Facebook, where you can find all our content, including exclusive articles from our writers here at Benchcasters. You can also find us on our website at BenchCaster.com. Moving down the line into the Steel City, the Steelers took on the New York Giants and came on top 20-12. This is also coming after the Pittsburgh head coach signed a contract extension to stay with the Steelers through the 2018 season. Brian, what do you got on this game?
All right. Well, we'll start off with Joshua Dobbs, who played a good amount of this game, but didn't impress one bit. 8 of 15 for 100 yards, 1 touchdown, but he threw 2 picks. To me, he didn't look all that good. Colby Hamilton had 2 receptions for 72 yards and a touchdown. Arthur Motes had 6 total tackles, 3 sacks, and a pick. He looked really good. Speaking of looking really good, T.J. Watt had 3 tackles and 2 sacks in the first 5 minutes of play.
T.J. Watt, I think, is going to be one of those players we're going to hear a lot of, not only because he is J.J. Watt's brother, but I think we're going to see a lot of good play from him. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, I think he'll be one of the top-tier linebackers in the league for years to come.
Now, what did you see on the Giants side of the football?
Giants, basically, you seen Geno Smith really stand out. He had flashes of, okay, Geno Smith is learning, and then sure enough, he throws another interception like he usually does.
Now, does this look like he's going to be battling for this second spot, or is he got it already, built in, or?
It's his to lose. He has all the intangibles you want, but if he keeps making bad decisions, he'll lose that job too.
Okay. Now we take you into Philadelphia, where the Green Bay Packers took on the Eagles. The Packers looked good in this one, Brian, winning 24-9.
Yeah, for Philadelphia, Carson Wentz started off the game hot. 404, 56 yards,